The left-wing media apparently have nothing better to do while covering Hurricane Dorian than to create their next anti-Trump controversy. And this one is Sharpie Gate. Hong Kong protesters achieved a small victory in their fight against China, and Barack and Michelle Obama take being lame to the next level. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. I hope you had a great week. There is a lot to cover, and we're going to start with the death of journalism because it is so far left now, and especially with President Trump, all they try and do is stir things up, try and create controversies. We saw it with Russia. We saw it with this just endless attacks on President Trump. And now, in the midst of Hurricane Dorian, they're doing it again. And it all started with President Trump this past weekend. He wanted to tweet out an alert to people about the hurricane based on its current projections, or the projections at that time. And here's what he tweeted. He said, in addition to Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama will most likely be hit much harder than anticipated, looking like one of the largest hurricanes ever, already Category 5. Be careful. God bless everyone. All right, so that seems harmless enough, right? He's not a meteorologist. He's giving an update based on the advice and the briefings of his team. Numerous projections. Here's one. I'm going to put this chart up. This was projections for the hurricane earlier on, and it showed paths up the coast, paths through Florida, which obviously would take you through Georgia and Alabama. But apparently the news media freaked out about it. ABC News did a story criticizing the president for including Alabama. And here's a report from The Hill. It says, President Trump on Monday night blasted ABC News for the network's reporting on his claims that Hurricane Dorian was expected to impact Alabama. Trump raised eyebrows on Sunday when he tweeted that Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama would most likely be hit much harder than anticipated. He also told reporters at the White House that Alabama is going to get a piece of the storm, despite no other officials or agencies suggesting Alabama residents would be affected. All right, well, we saw the map, okay? There were projections that could take it that way. So, I mean, seriously, they make a big deal about his statement, all right? And this is where things just get even weirder, all right? It was enough to just pick on that. It's like, maybe it's a slow news week, okay, we can see. But so then President Trump wanted to clarify things. So he made a statement from the Oval Office, and this is where things just really got crazy. All right, here's what President Trump said.
We had actually, our original chart was that it was going to be hitting Florida directly. Maybe I could just see that, Kevin. It was going to be hitting directly, and that would have affected a lot of other states. But that was the original chart.
All right, and that brings us to Sharpie Gate. All right, you see the picture? We'll put that up. You see that little circle that's written there? That right there has caused the media to freak out for the rest of the week. And here's some from CNN.
President, you showed us the map earlier, the initial forecast of it. It appeared to have been, I guess, edited or something to include Alabama. Can you explain how that change was made?
I just know, I know that Alabama was in the original forecast.
So that reporter saw his opening and actually followed up, not on the hurricane devastation, but on the mark. Check this out.
And that map that you showed us today looked like it almost had like a Sharpie.
I don't know.
So yes, that was the beginning of Sharpie Gate. And here's Jake Tapper over at CNN adding more to it.
As this storm is barreling down on the United States, President Trump used an altered map of Hurricane Dorian's path while in the Oval Office today.
So first of all, the president didn't show an altered path. The path is there, all right? The probability cone is there. Someone on his team just highlighted more about Alabama since that's what they were talking about. But his characterization of it is just bizarre. So that was CNN. Here's ABC News' report.
President Trump is facing new questions over that false hurricane forecast he sent to his Twitter followers. In the Oval Office yesterday, he tried to defend the tweet with an official map that had been falsified with a handwritten mark.
So an official map that has been falsified. See how it goes from wondering what's going on to just ramping it up, all right? So now we have Rachel Maddow over at MSNBC, and check out her way of reporting it.
Somebody in a very important position of responsibility is plainly comfortable lying even about life-threatening Category 5 hurricane emergencies.
All right, so first it's altering a chart. Now it's flat out lying about Category 5 hurricane emergencies. And I don't know if you caught it, but that whole segment of hers had this ominous music playing in the background. She's supposed to be reporting news or giving her opinions on news, and they've got this eerie anti-Trump music playing. It's just nuts. And here's even more. Here's from CBS, a local CBS affiliate, quickly adding their take on the story.
It's a crime to alter official government weather forecasts.
All right, so an altered map becomes lying about hurricane emergencies to possibly committing a crime. You see what the media does here? I mean, again, it must be a slow week, but the reason I bring this up, this Sharpie Gate, is to show you how ridiculous the media are right now, because it's an anti-Trump frenzy to where they think that this is worthy of national news coverage. It's absolutely nuts. It's just ridiculous. But here's something that's not ridiculous, and that's what's going on in Hong Kong. And I wish that would get more coverage. And I've wanted to bring it up for weeks now, and there's always something, you know, the left and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and all these people, they just outdo themselves. And so you got to cover it. But what's going on in Hong Kong is important. And it just shows especially the contrast with these students and these young people that take to the streets in Hong Kong compared to what's going on in America. Now, as you know, Hong Kong has been, turned over to the Chinese from the British. But it allows, at least for 50 years, some autonomy. They can still have freedom. They can still have their capitalism to some extent without the oppression that's going on in mainland China. But recently, the Hong Kong people took to the streets in protest because the leader of Hong Kong passed a bill, an extradition bill. And what that would allow is that criminals in Hong Kong could be extradited to China for trial. And of course, this raised a big old red flag because we know how the Chinese government works. We know how oppressive it is. And the Hong Kong people thought, oh my gosh, Chinese can just come in and grab you for anything, any kind of charges, and try you in China, which basically means you're never going to be heard or seen from again. And that's what got them into the streets. That's what got them protesting and shutting down airports and everything like that. And it was just, when you watch the footage, it was such a contrast. I mean, you've got American students here embracing socialism, and these people are taking to the streets and embracing freedom. I mean, you've got people over here, the left over here, burning flags and, kneeling for the national anthem. And these people are waving American flags, saying, take a look at us, support us. We support freedom. Please be on our side. It's just so touching to watch. But because of those protests, actual progress has been made. And here's a report from Fox News.
The leader of Hong Kong withdraws a controversial bill that sparked months of protests in the city. The proposed law would have extradited criminals to mainland China. The bill had already been suspended, but protesters demanded it be formally withdrawn. The activists are also calling for more democratic freedom.
All right, well, that was Fox News, but there's even more from the Daily Caller, and here's what they say. They said, the government will formally withdraw the bill in order to fully allay public concerns. Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam announced in a pre-recorded video released Wednesday. She also said a police watchdog group, the Independent Police Complaints Council, is investigating police misconduct during protests, and added that those who were detained without charges during demonstrations will not be released, the Associated Press reported. So it is a small victory, but there is more to do. The Hong Kong protesters, the main organizers, had put together a 5-point plan. Number one, of course, was getting rid of this extradition bill. But there are other things that need to be done. There are people that have been arrested and not charged. They're just being held without charges. And so more needs to be done there. And we need to support these folks. They are crying out to America to say, look at us. We are embracing freedom. We want freedom. We want to be like America. Please support us. And it's an inspiring story. It is so inspiring, and we need to do as much as we can. And from inspiration, we go to exasperation when we see what the Obamas are doing. I mean, these people are they're just lame, okay? There's this publishing company called Higher Ground Enterprises, all right? They've been around a while. Now the Obamas want to get into production and all of this other kind of Hollywood type stuff, and they want to have a company called Higher Ground Productions, and they're willing to sue to get that name. Here's a report from Fox News. This is really deplorable behavior. I hope that the Obamas realize that these actions are not consistent with the values they preach and that they instruct their attorneys to immediately dismiss the petition. Attorney Larry Zerner told Fox News in a statement that was first given to The Hollywood Reporter. Zerner told Fox News that the Obamas have known for almost a year that their Higher Ground Productions trademark application was rejected by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office because it is too similar to his client's Higher Ground Enterprises. Instead of simply picking another name, the Obamas' lawyers have now filed a meritless petition to cancel my client's trademark so they can take it for themselves, Zerner said. So give me a break, okay? And it just shows, I mean, the Obamas say they're of the people, and you saw the big mansion that they're about to buy. Now they're trying to muscle a small company so they could get the name. It is just absolutely elitist, and it's just pathetic right there. So from there, we're going to lead to our closing. It's Friday, and our segment is back. I know you guys liked it. I like doing it. But it is, do you have a relaxed brain?
I got what you call, like, I don't know, a relaxed brain.
All right, we've got a lot in this segment. We're going to start with Joe Biden, who, you know, we've been covering him. He's just, whatever he opens his mouth, things weird come out. And he decided to address guns and magazines. And here's what he said.
It has to stop. The idea that we don't have elimination of assault-type weapons, magazines that can hold multiple bullets in them, is absolutely mindless.
So, I mean, what is that? I guess we're supposed to go back to the days of the musket or something. We're supposed to be Minutemen and just load up one shot at a time. So, I mean, that's what magazines do. They hold more than one bullet. It's just bizarre. But, all right, so that's Biden. Now we have Jim Carrey, who came out and said that Mitch McConnell is actually worse than Osama bin Laden. All right, here's a tweet he put out. He said, 10,000 gun deaths in 2009, and the year is far from over. What Osama bin Laden did to us was terrible, but he doesn't hold a candle to Mitch McConnell. This is wrong on so many levels. We don't even have time to get into it, but that is definitely relaxed brain stuff. And so the segment and the week wouldn't be complete unless we talked about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So we've got Hurricane Dorian coming down hard on the Bahamas. And here is what she tweeted. She said, "This is what climate change looks like. It hits vulnerable communities first. I can already hear climate deniers screeching, 'It's always been like this. You're dim,' etc. No, this is about science and leadership. We either decarbonize and cut emissions, or we don't and let people die." What?
I don't understand the words you just said.
So that is not what climate change looks like. What that is called hurricane damage. The Bahamas lie in the path of most of our hurricanes. All right, they've been hit tons and tons and tons of times, but she says this is what climate change looks like, that it attacks vulnerable communities first. Well, when you got an island that sits in the path of major hurricanes, it's tragic, but that's going to happen. And it's not because it's a vulnerable community. It's not because President Trump is out to get the Bahamas. And it's not because of climate change. It's because this is where hurricanes go. That is their paths. And it's just, I don't understand a word that she says either. So anyway, folks, that's our show for today. I hope you have a great weekend. Please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell. And we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour. Okay, friends, just a little reminder before you go, and no, this does not count against my 13 minutes. Please hit the subscribe button below and tell your friends. And if you happen to miss our last show, you can check it out right here. And also for great conservative news and commentary, please check out GOPUSA.com. All right, folks, we'll see you on the next show. Have a great day.